On Sunday Morning Futures, coming off one of the most successful weeks of his presidency. She asked him all about what's next for Iran, China, and the world's energy supply. Watch.
Do you think that the Iran regime hid some of the enriched uranium before the strikes?
No. You mean, did they take it out of the deep one? No.
Because you were pretty clear you can't have a weapon. You're going to have to come to the talk. Something's going to happen.
I don't think they did. No, I think, first of all, it's very hard to do. It's very dangerous to do. It's very heavy, very, very heavy. It's a very hard thing to do. Plus, we didn't give them much notice because they didn't know we were coming until just, then. And nobody thought we'd go after that site because everybody said that site is impenetrable. You can't, you're not going to be. That's why they did. It's at the bottom of a mountain. And it's granite. Granite's the hardest stone, and it's granite. So, no, they didn't. But I do believe they had people there because you had cars. They were saying cars. And those were masons. Those were people working with concrete. They were trying to seal up the entrance to where the bomb would most likely go in. And they did that. They were working on that, and the bomb went through it like it was butter, like it was absolute butter.
Because I saw reports that there were 400 kilograms, 800 pounds that they moved, but I wonder if it's traceable. I mean, if they were to have moved something, they didn't move anything.
You know what they moved themselves? They were all trying to live. They didn't move anything. They didn't think it was going to be actually doable, what we did. And what we did was amazing. And we went, there were energy commissions that went there now. No, it's just thousands of tons of rock in that room right now. That room, the whole place was just destroyed. And the other two also. Now, Israel was able to do damage, but we did the final damage. And we have the greatest submarines in the world. We launched 30 rockets from submarines. Every single one of them hit their target.
How will you know if he tries to start things up again? Because Iran just said that they are halting cooperation with the UN nuclear watchdog.
The last thing they're going to be doing right now, for a period of time at least, is nuclear. They've had it. They've been trying it for 25 years. The last thing they're going to do is nuclear. We had to hit them, though. They were close to getting a nuclear bomb, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've heard from people inside Iran that the regime in Iran has executed more Iranian civilians in the past 48 hours than the number of Iranians who died in the 12-day war. So, I mean, you've got a regime that's been building ballistic missiles, building or trying to build a nuclear weapon. Why should we think that they're actually going to give up on this?
Well, they might not give up, but they're going to give up on it while they're exhausted. They are exhausted. They took hits like nobody's ever taken. And frankly, Israel is tired. They wanted to, it was the perfect time. We went in, we destroyed their nuclear capability, and we stopped. It was a beautiful thing. And they couldn't have gone on much further. And Israel was that was a very intense 12 days, very, very intense.
Has any other country suggested to you recently, as a result of this, that they want to join the Abraham Accords?
Yes. So we have some really great countries in there right now, and I think we're going to start loading them up because Iran was the primary problem. I actually thought Iran would. I actually thought we had a period of time where I thought Iran would join the Abraham Accords along with everybody else. And frankly, they would have been better off than where they are right now. But I responded last night to the Ayatollah who made some nasty statements. I responded to him, and I thought it was a good response. But I said, it's time to get back to business. You got to rebuild your country.
And what about the Abraham Accords? Would Syria enter?
Well, I don't know, but I did take off the sanctions at the request of some of the other countries in the area that are friends of ours. I took off the sanctions on Syria to give them a chance at, the sanctions are biting. They're very strong. And we have sanctions on Iran, too. And, you take them off when, I sort of gave the expression today, you get more sometimes with honey than you do with vinegar. It's always such anger with Iran. Ever since I've been not even doing this, before I've been doing this politically, there's always anger, and it's like there's no happiness. They ought to be a little happy. They ought to enjoy their lives a little bit. But think of it, it's always like fighting, and it just doesn't make sense.
But you waived the sanctions on the oil with regard to China, so you're allowing China to still buy the oil from Iran.
No, I didn't say that. We have the sanctions on, And if they do a job, and if they can be peaceful, and if they can show us they're not going to do any more harm, I would take the sanctions off, and the sanctions would make a big difference, as you know. You know, when I was, we had a great success in the first term. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. By the way, it's going to be absolutely, this is better. This is going to be, I think, even much better. But we had the greatest economy in history. And we use sanctions. You use them very carefully. You know, sanctions cost us a lot of money. It's not just, gee, we're going to put sanctions on. When you do sanctions, it costs a lot of money. But I would, one of the things I was thinking about doing, you start waiving them for countries like, if they behave themselves like Iran, where they can sell oil and they can do the things that you want to be able to do. The sanctions are very powerful, and it makes it difficult. I'm not looking to make it difficult. I want them to have a good life. But they were trying to develop a bomb. And the reason you try and develop a bomb like that is to use it.
But China is taking 90% of the Iranian oil exports. Are you allowing that to continue?
Well, you know, there's a lot of oil around right now. We have a lot of oil. We have more than anybody else, actually. And oil is hitting low prices now. It's very, very low. We're in the 60s. And I think we're going to go low. There's so much oil around, but Biden didn't let people use it. Biden closed up, you know, the inflation was caused by the oil. He started closing up the things we did. We had it down into the 50s and 60s. And, you know, when you look at that's per barrel, but we had it at one point at $1.98 a gallon. We had it at one point at $1.47 a gallon. I mean, think of that. You know what the difference is between that and having a bad economy? When you consider, that's like a big tax cut. You know, if you have oil, when you get oil down $1 or $2, that's like a big tax cut.
And you're at gasoline 4-year lows right now.
And we're now at 4 years. I'm so happy about that. And what that's doing is bringing down the inflation. We have very low inflation. We have 1% inflation. And that's why the Fed ought to lower its rates. We should be the lowest because the country is strong. We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars of tariffs. We have a hot country. You know, it's the greatest. I love saying it. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world. It's a great thing to say.
I want to get to the big, beautiful bill in a second, but let me get your take, because you just suggested that the way you treated this Iran situation, this Israel situation, that it was a message to others. Do you think the strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities will help you with Putin? Do you think you can get a ceasefire there?
I think we're going to get a ceasefire because oil is low. I think we're going to get a ceasefire because I think he wants to do that. And I don't think we would have, I know we wouldn't have ever had the war. We're drilling like never before. That's how the oil got down low. A lot of countries aren't helping us too much with that. The oil's low because we are drilling. We have more oil and gas than any other country.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching Morning.